This is a freestyle. I was just thinking to myself today, but even before I speak on what I got in mind, I wanted to dedicate this video to my daughter Dy'mond, so that she knows how much that I love her. Always did. Never really had a chance to show that to her. So she's kind of shy, but that's okay. Love you, Dy'mond. Want to make sure that you know. Okay. Let me go ahead and get to what I had in mind. I had part of my book, or should I say some information that I was studying. And I was thinking to myself, because I happened to see a Facebook feed, and this individual had made a comment in terms of Malcolm X. And so the great thing that I like about Brother Malcolm was not only just his humble beginnings and everything he went through, but the fact of the matter is, what if Malcolm had made up his mind in secret to have duplicated himself 100 times to prepare for eventually what did occur? And when I think about Fred Hampton and Mark Clark and how they were both murdered, or some people would say assassinated, the main thing I'm noticing, because I do have a personal association with an individual who was a former Black Panther, and that is, they were really not aggressive. They were really not assertive. Like, they really were not the threat that J. Edgar Hoover, at that time, who was a director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, tried to make them appear to be. And so basically, as a fun-loving people who have a great heart, who parade and march and forgive everyone, like the young lady that walked into the guy's apartment and shot him, and she said she made a mistake. She thought it was her apartment, and I believe it was the guy's brother gave her a hug, and I think even the judge gave her a hug. And I'm like, I ain't never been in no courtroom, not in Baltimore City, that you done accidentally went in a white guy's house, killed him, and the judge comes and hugs you. And the brother, the person you supposed to have killed, hug you too. That doesn't make any sense. So this is where I'm at, right? I believe that if the powers that be own all the bullets, own all the guns, own all the tanks, all the planes, all the phones, all the communications, how can this thing happen? And this is how it's going to happen. You see, the very wealthy families like the king, the Queen of England, and what's going on with that, and whoever else in the world have been doing what they doing, intermarrying, where they marry each other to interbreed, to keep certain bloodlines intact, and so forth and so on. And if you don't get down, they ostracize you, because I've done my research for many years, right? And so they say a man with God has no fear, because if God has made up his mind that you can't be touched, you will not be touched. But how about this? You also are what you call, you have certain insight. You have certain training yourself. You're on point where they just can't come at you just any kind of way. And then what man forget is that God is in charge. When I say God, I'm not talking about some of the lesser gods. I don't want to name any names that are the lesser gods, because people are going to get in their feelings and so forth and so on. And this ain't about feelings. This is about truth. This is about facts. Like, for example, right? I used to wonder, especially what's going on in Baltimore City. And Baltimore City could relate to any other place as well. as far as an urban environment. And that is, it is not just a war against school children. It is a war against black babies. Straight up. I'm sure somebody's probably said it before, but not like the way I'm getting ready to put it down, because at the end of the day, a friend of mine, she told me, she said, look, she said, you got a lot of books in you. You need to write. And I have not yet settled down to write, but I do know that as a people who have the equivalent of what you call uh, PSD, I think that's a post-traumatic syndrome, that certain issues were never addressed. Like, I'm in Tucson, Arizona right now, and there's this one black man that pushes this cart, and every time I see him, I make sure that I give him a little something. But blacks as a people, we so tore up out here that it is a crying shame. And this is 2021. So this is how I think, based on my intuition, how it's going to go down. And that's this. The new weapon is not physical. Like, they had this movie one time where they had these people that could get up into other people's minds. And that's probably going down in some kind of way through like MK Ultra or the Manchurian Candidate with Sirhan back in the day with Bobby Kennedy. And what was the real reason why JFK really got assassinated? And what really is the corporation of the Americas? And when you read the Constitution, it says we the people. But we have to keep in mind that we the people never included but the individuals that were putting that document together. It was for them and theirs. That's it. This ain't about anger. This ain't even about feelings. This is about what's up. So this is what I do. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. And I've been through some situations. And I've made up my mind to ignore what did not happen the way I wanted it to focus on what happened that was a positive. I'm getting better at that. And so where my mind state is right now, and I'm sure there has to be people similar to me, but definitely through thought transference, I'm asking God to give me insight on what has to be done and the little small piece that I can do. To recognize that I don't do nothing, God does it. Everything I've been through in my life, I'm learning, has been a perfect path to get me exactly where I'm supposed to be. Because I found out that it's bigger than the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, who's going to the Olympics, especially for us. So I call that diversions. So I was thinking to myself, just imagine, it's just a thought. Imagine a man, flesh and blood, that is the combination of Dr. King, who stood for love, and clearly the powers that be have proven they don't care if you walk in love or not. They'll blow your whole brains out, blow your whole throat out. My understanding, Dr. King wasn't hitting his head; it was hit in the throat for to make a point. Like, we silence you. That's number one. A man that is a combination of Dr. King and a man that's a combination of Malcolm X. Malcolm X was by any means necessary. But I've also found out that the issue just can't be by any means necessary. And so Malcolm has taught us, certain individuals who studied his life, what works and what don't work. Okay? Was it possible during that era of time in Malcolm's life for him to move with 100 men? When Malcolm put on his hat, a hundred hands moved to put on their hat. Minimum. Minimum. Now with Zoom conference, depending on what your demonstration is, and then depending on who you're dealing with, you can do what's called a treatment. It's called a mental treatment. You can talk to 10,000 people at once. And the people that's ready for it, that's resonating with it, they're going to get it. It doesn't matter who don't get it. And then the beautiful thing about it is everything you doing, the root is love, Love. Now, when you manifest love, that don't mean that you're going to necessarily let somebody take advantage of you. That don't mean that just because love is your root that you're weak. That don't mean that just because you're in love with love that you have not done your due diligence and you have not done your research. So we have people who watch TV, including myself, watching the NBA, watching the NBA All-Star game and the whole nine, and we toe up. Principles that I personally have dealt with, and they were just with the program. As long as they get their 6 figures, it was cool. Don't rock the boat. But see, what I found out was this. I've been in so many situations in terms of fear, and I'm like anybody else. But I'm going to tell you this. After going through all the things that I've been through up to this point, I know for a fact that if I, how can I say, pass certain spiritual tests, like the mystery schools back in the day, and the Lord, meaning the supreme being, finds me in favor, oh, it's on and popping. Look, 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 it's like this. You can be quiet. Don't even say nothing. See, because what I'm talking about, it's unstoppable. You can't stop it. You don't got to go get a gun license. You ain't got to deal with open carry. You ain't got to move from state to state. Because if you ain't right within, wherever you carry yourself, there you be. So you can't run away from self. But if you find something and the time is ready, can't nothing stop it. So I'm just saying all that in the sense that, and this is the gist of what I'm talking about. This is the root of this video. And I may read from the literature, and that is this. It is a war, a national and international war against black babies, in particular in the United States of America. Because see, we're in the inside, we're in the belly of the beast. We're everywhere. You see what I'm saying? And see, I've learned the hard way. I don't care if you're a police officer. I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care if you're a magistrate. I don't even care if you're a special agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation and or and the individual connected to the Central Intelligence Agency. If they feel like, yo, look, you know too much, they ain't got no problem getting rid of you or putting you out to a pasture. You know, what you did, your time is up. Like an hourglass, like with the sand flowing through. I said this a freestyle. So what's happening with me is I look at it like this. The only thing I need to believe in is God. And I've studied enough wrong data and bad information that I'm close to getting the pure, the raw. And I want it bad. I want it more than a wife. I want it more than somebody to believe me. I want it more than being important. I want it to the point where I beg and plead for it every second, every minute. every day, especially now, because I'm learning something. I don't even want to talk about what I'm really learning. I'm learning a little something. Don't tell it all. And I'm asking for spiritual clarity. I think one of the major things I had to get over was my race in terms of being an African American in the United States, and then understanding that I can run into somebody who look like me, but they not right. They don't want it. They done given up. But the good thing is I understand it. I know how to move them out the way. I understand. Nobody look what these people that put us through. They couldn't. They would have already committed suicide already. I see it. I'm right down the street from Mexico City. I'm right in the heart of where they bring oxycodone and the whole nine. You know what I mean? Mexican mud, coke, everything. I'm right there. I can see it. And they doing they thing. But as a people, we toe up. And something got to change. And it's gonna change. Because see, this is what I found out the hard way, right? Listen to this one. One man with God is a majority. When I say God, I'm talking about the one, not a lesser God. And we got a whole lot of lesser gods all up in the Bible. How do you look? Listen to this one. You're gonna like this part. How you know you're dealing with a lesser God? Here's why. He need worship. Why is that true? Because if you are God, you don't need nothing. You don't even need man. For what? If that's what you is on your mind. Because you know everything, everywhere, any place, at any time. Man only exists at this essence pleasure. How about this? Evil. What we know about evil is this. We know that evil is not good, and if evil was in charge, there would be no earth. Period. We also know that when you look at the entire situation, you have to say to yourself, a lesser God would get off on humans fighting each other. And I mean, look, this lesser God is so slick. His program, his story, because I done heard a lot of lies. I done told many of them myself. That's why I know. To find the truth. That he got everybody twisted up. And then I'm learning the steps, how to come up. And the first place you come up is within yourself. And see, God can find, when I say God, I'm talking about the supreme being, the ultimate, right? He'll take the worst. He'll take the least. He'll take the individuals that everybody already counted out. Just to prove his point. And so, what is the point of the supreme being? And that is, love will make hate subdue itself. That is the purpose. The purpose of man having free will is for him to learn that by his mistakes, as long as he doesn't magnify those mistakes by prompts, that the lesson is he doesn't have to make that mistake again. And everybody is on their own path. So here's the beautiful thing about, quote unquote, the black man to the white man. When the black man get on top, because he is, this black man that I'm talking about is going to recognize that the white man is his brother. And the white man is also created by God. And so at the end of the day, the black man has to show a better example. Now, the white man has clearly shown that he will kill. Okay, look. He don't even wait till you get a man. He kill you in the embryonic stage. He kill you while you still a cell membrane. Let's don't get it mixed up. That's how bad this essence is. Now, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad had already said that the black, or should I say, the white man is the devil. But even the devil got a lesson. And you know what the devil teach? What not to do. Now, when you get with God, you know what he do? He make all your crooked paths straight. So somebody going to hear this and somebody going to listen to it and they're going to say, you know what? You're making some sense. I need to reflect on that. So what is the gist of this video? The gist of this video is that there is a war, a all-out war on black babies, male and female. And the ones that they allowed to grow up, that is containment as workers. Workers. And the idea is this. They control by the barrel of a gun. And let me also say this about the Capitol riots. If that had been blacks, it would have been a slaughter. I was an assistant mortician and an assistant funeral director at March Funeral Home in Baltimore City on North and Asquith and Dukeland and Cold Spring Lane. So I know what bodies look like. I also know what bodies look like during the autopsy, the embalming, and when you get a body and it don't even look human. So I know. So I'm at that age right now where it's too late to play. And again, I like to thank my children until I make another video. Freestyle.